Hi guys, my story is about how I got revenge on my horrible husband Ben, who basically abandoned me for his best friend Chloe. To start from the beginning, let me tell you that Chloe had always been a problem between us. The first day I met Chloe, I instantly knew that she was not a nice person. She was all clingy with Ben and actually asked him to go sit beside her instead of me. Can you imagine that, guys? This woman was basically telling my boyfriend that he should be sitting next to her and not his own girlfriend. I immediately knew that this girl would be a problem. Thankfully, Ben didn't do that and told Chloe that he would only sit beside me. I saw Chloe's face instantly lose its sparkle and her mood dimmed. But she resumed being wildly inappropriate with Ben right in front of me. She kept talking to him and completely ignored me. Whenever I asked her something directly, she would give me one-word answers and resume talking with Ben. She even kept reaching for his hands that were placed on the table in front of him. It was an overall awkward encounter until Ben left to go to the toilet, and that's when Chloe wickedly smirked at me and said, "You must have really charmed Ben to have him seriously date you. Usually his dates aren't worthy enough to meet me. I guess he's really serious about me then." I can see that already, but I want to clear out something right now so that you don't have any misconceptions. What is it, Chloe? You need to understand that I am Ben's number one girl. No matter who he dates or marries, he will always place me first. You will never be able to compete with me. I don't understand why I would need to compete with you, Chloe. You are his best friend and I am his girlfriend. Yes, that's true. Ben doesn't want to date me because I don't have a nice job like you, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't be mine. Ben and I have been best friends for a long time. At the end of the day, he will always be mine. I was taken aback by Chloe's words. She was being an absolutely shameless woman and straight up telling me that Ben would always prioritize her over me. I didn't have a chance to give her a fitting reply because Ben came back and Chloe acted like everything was normal. The meeting got even more awkward and I didn't have the desire to act like everything was normal. I must admit that I was short with my replies while Chloe was acting all nice and friendly all of a sudden. When the meeting was finally over, Ben and I drove back to my house. As soon as we reached, Ben told me in a frustrated voice, "Why were you rude to Chloe before we left?" Wow, didn't you notice that Chloe was the one who was rude to me first? She barely spoke to me today, Ben. Oh, come on, Jeannie. Chloe takes some time to be comfortable around people. You should be a little understanding of that. I don't think she was uncomfortable around me. She had no problem telling me that she would always be your priority and not me. She said a lot of stuff when you left the table. I explained to Ben what Chloe had told me when he wasn't at the table. Ben patiently listened to me but didn't appear to be surprised. He was acting like he knew Chloe would react this way. That should have been another red flag for me right after the one when he accused me of being rude first. But somehow I ignored that. Ben then said, "I'm sorry she said that to you, Jeannie. Chloe can be a little territorial over me since we have been best friends for so long. She will warm up to you, though." I highly doubt that, Ben. I really don't like the way she's around you. It's not appropriate. She's constantly very touchy with you. It made me very uncomfortable. That's just the way she is, Jeannie. Look, I will talk to her so that she tones down her behavior, but don't expect me to give her up completely. She's my best friend and I won't just discard her like that. That should have been yet another red flag that I blatantly ignored. I was upset that I thought maybe we could set some boundaries and make it work. Guys, This man was actually very loving and caring when Chloe wasn't around, so I wanted to give him a chance. At that time, I was wildly in love with him and didn't want to leave him, so I set some boundaries with him and continued the relationship. As the relationship progressed, Chloe got more and more unhinged. She would take Ben away from me at parties, make him cancel our dates for her, crash our special dates, and even tell Ben to keep me home when she hosted parties. Ben and I had a lot of fights over Chloe, and ultimately I told him to stop meeting her alone. I told him that he was only allowed to meet Chloe with other mutual friends and not spend so much time with her. Ben, at that time, agreed with everything. In fact, he proposed to me a week after we had this conversation. Back then, I was still holding out hope and was still madly in love with him, so I accepted his proposal. At our wedding, Chloe created a lot of drama. She actually tried to walk into my wedding in a white cocktail dress that basically showed everything. One of my bridesmaids dragged her away and told her to change before she could enter the venue. She cried and tried to run to Ben again, but Ben simply told her to change because he didn't want her to spoil the wedding. Guys, most of you will think that Ben took my side because he loved me and all. Well, I have my doubts now. Maybe he did love me, but he was after something else. As soon as we got married, he quit his job out of the blue and told me that he wouldn't be working for a while. His excuse was that he was burnt out and needed some time off before going back to work. Ben never even consulted with me and just quit his job straight away. It really threw me off, but I decided to support him with my income. We lived in a house that I owned and I had plenty of money to take care of our expenses. So I didn't push him to find employment. Ben was unemployed for a full year. I hadn't expected him to do this, but I didn't know how to approach him about it, so I let it be. That was a big mistake because I later realized that he was using me for money and secretly planning to cheat on me with Chloe. It all came out when we were nearing the date of our anniversary, so I was excited about planning something special on that day. It was our first anniversary after all, so I casually hinted to Ben that we need to plan something. Ben, as usual, was clueless about my hints, so instead of wasting my time and expecting him to read my mind, I did the reasonable thing to do. I sat him down one day and excitedly said, "So, what should we plan for our anniversary?" "What do you mean? What do you want to do?" "Our anniversary is coming up, you know. We should do something since it's our first. I was thinking about maybe a fancy date somewhere." "I don't know, Jeannie. Maybe we could have a party with Chloe and the others. It's been a while since we've seen everyone." "You literally meet with them every month, Ben. This is a special occasion and I want to spend the day with you. We can have a party later, maybe, but we need to do something special, just the two of us too." "I don't know, Jeannie. I don't want to think about this right now." Ben was acting really annoyed when I shut down his idea. He was already hanging out with everyone at least once a month, so I don't know why he said he rarely sees them. Also, he blamed me for it for no reason. I had only asked him not to meet Chloe privately, and that's it. That day, I had a nagging suspicion that Ben was not happy with the arrangement. He really wanted to continue going out with Chloe alone every other day. Those doubts were in my head, but I brushed them away. Ben and Chloe calling me insecure and paranoid really got to me. They gaslighted me so hard that I started to believe that I was going crazy, so I let it go. I was hoping that Ben would come up with something for our anniversary, just anything to make it special for us. I never expected him to surprise me because he had never done that before, but I had expected him to come to me and sit down with me to make plans about it. Days passed and Ben seemed as uninterested as before. I was starting to get heartbroken and decided to make plans all by myself. If Ben was not willing to put in the effort, I was willing to do it because I really loved Ben. I started to call up restaurants to make a reservation for our anniversary. I even selected his favorite restaurant and paid the booking amount to reserve a table. It was an upscale restaurant, but I was willing to take out the cash to treat Ben on our anniversary. Yes, I had stupidly planned so much for a worthless man like Ben. All my plans went to waste when Ben came home from one of his friends' gatherings. It was just 2 weeks away from our anniversary. I was so excited for everything, but it was all for nothing. Ben sat me down and said, "So, you've been pestering me about anniversary plans, It's okay, Ben. You don't have to do anything. I already made plans. It's a surprise for you. Don't worry, you won't have to make plans anymore." "Well, you will have to cancel those plans. I have made some other plans for our anniversary already." "What do you mean, Ben? What plans have you made? Did you really plan something for us?" "When did I say that I had planned something for us, Jeannie?" Guys, I was literally getting excited that Ben has finally made some plans for us. He was making an effort to plan something special for our first anniversary, so I was smiling and getting my hopes up. But my smile fell when Ben said that his plans weren't meant for the two of us. That's when I looked confused and sad, and I said, "What do you mean, Ben?" "I made some plans with Chloe." "What? Have you made plans with Chloe on our anniversary?" "Yes, Chloe and I will be taking a bonding trip to Santa Monica, so you will have to cancel whatever stupid plan you've made that day." "You're taking Chloe on a vacation? And you're saying that you will do that on our anniversary?" I was shocked beyond words, guys. My husband was sitting right in front of me telling me that he was going to take a vacation with his female best friend on our anniversary. Mind you, guys, this is the same best friend who had repeatedly crossed my boundaries and straight up told me that she was more well-suited to my husband. Yes, my husband wanted to take her on a vacation instead of his own wife. I was in shock and didn't know how to respond to that, so I ended up looking dumb. I was secretly hoping that Ben would start to laugh and say that this was all a joke. But that wasn't happening. If anything, Ben actually looked annoyed at me and said, "Are you deaf or something? That's exactly what I said." Is this a joke? Is it a prank? Why do you think this is a joke or a prank, Jeannie? Am I laughing? No. What does it say to you then? You can't be serious, Ben. You can't take a vacation with someone else on our anniversary of all days. This is wrong. I don't see how this is wrong, Jeannie. Really, Ben? Do you really think that you're not doing anything wrong? No, I don't see that I'm doing anything wrong. Chloe and I needed to spend some time away from you because of your insane jealousy. She had a few days off that week, so we decided to take a small trip to Santa Monica during that time. I looked at my husband in shock. I'm pretty sure my eyes were bulging out of my sockets. Never in my wildest dreams had I expected my husband to abandon me on my anniversary and take some other girl on a trip. It was just bizarre. And let's not forget that this woman literally threatened to take him away from me and told me that I would never take her place. All her words were turning out to be true because my husband was choosing her over me. Despite all this, I, being the stupid girl I am, tried to make my husband see reason. This is not okay, Ben. You know I don't like you spending time with Chloe alone. Do you really think I would cut off my best friend because of your insane jealousy? I never asked you to cut contact with her. I simply asked you not to meet with her alone or so frequently. Now, you're blatantly crossing that line and taking her on a trip. And you were doing it on our anniversary. This is why I'm taking the trip. Ever since you met Chloe, you've been nothing but an insecure woman. You are now trying to control me from seeing my best friend. This is not done, Jeannie. You are doing something very wrong, Ben. You cannot take Chloe on a trip and abandon your own wife on your anniversary. You need to cancel this vacation right now. No, this trip is happening. Chloe and I are going to have a nice bonding experience, and I won't listen to you badger on about your unfounded jealousy. We have already started to drift apart because of you. I'm going to fix it now. I won't listen to your stupid terms anymore. My boundaries weren't set out of jealousy, Ben. You know Chloe had been inappropriate and disrespectful to me. I haven't set any unfair terms. That's all nonsense, Jeannie. You're just mad because another girl is close to me. You need to tone down your jealousy for good and accept the relationship Chloe and I have. The tickets are booked and there's no way I'm canceling them. You will have to just deal with it. Ben said that and stormed upstairs. I sat on the sofa in the living room because I was too stunned to do anything. My husband simply said what he wanted to and walked away. He was in no mood for any conversations. I was in shock and still reeling from Ben's words. He seemed mad and blamed me for being overly jealous about their relationship. I really wished that I had seen those bright red flags from the start. I don't know how I could be so blind. It didn't matter if Ben was in love with Chloe or not. What mattered was that he was willing to stomp my boundaries and abandon me just to maintain his inappropriate relationship with Chloe. Even if he loved me, he would always place Chloe first in his life. The woman was right. Ben would abandon me for her anytime. Despite everything, I still tried to talk to my husband and make him see how wrong he was. I am not someone who gives ultimatums or believes in them, so I simply tried to make him understand my perspective. But Ben absolutely refused to engage with me on this topic at all. He kept calling me a jealous and insecure woman who was trying to destroy his beautiful friendship with Chloe. I was desperate to make him see my point and cried for days when I realized that Ben was ultimately choosing Chloe over me. The final nail in the coffin for me was when Chloe called me up to gloat about her achievement to me. She called me and said, "So, do you accept your defeat, Jeannie?" "What do you mean, Chloe? Didn't you see how your loving husband chose me over you? I told you, Jeannie. Ben will always choose our relationship over yours." "I know you got to his head, Chloe, but I also won't blame you for this. Yes, you were right. Ben chose you over me." "I'm glad you understood that, dear Jeannie. But I should warn you, this is just the beginning, Jeannie. Slowly, Ben will be mine, and you won't be able to do anything about it." "This was all your plan, to get my husband back with you, right, Chloe?" "That's right, Jeannie. Now you will enjoy your anniversary alone while Ben and I will enjoy our vacation. Who knows, it may end up bringing us even closer than before. I'll sure keep you updated." Chloe actually laughed when she said those words. I was so hurt that I couldn't do anything but hang up on her. She was careful not to send me texts so that I couldn't show Ben proof that she had been harassing me. Not that I thought Ben would care. He didn't seem to care about my feelings anymore. Only Chloe's feelings mattered to him. At that point, I understood one thing very clearly. Even if Ben was not cheating on me, our marriage was over. Our marriage was over the moment he decided to stomp my boundaries and choose another woman over me. Once I had the realization that there was no going back for us, I stopped talking to Ben altogether. He seemed even more annoyed, but thought that I was mad at him for taking the trip. Even then, he didn't come to comfort me or make sure I was okay with him taking the trip. He simply ignored me and sometimes muttered about me being dramatic and jealous again. I listened to it all without complaining. I didn't even stop him when he packed his bags the day before he was supposed to leave. The trip started 4 days before our anniversary. Ben took his stuff and left for his early flight. He murmured something about seeing me when he got back and just left. I sat on the couch and didn't even follow him to the door. When he was gone, I cried like a child and grieved my marriage. Don't worry, guys, I didn't cry the entire day and lamented the end of my marriage. Instead, I got to work after 2 hours of crying. The last communication I had with Ben before he returned home was when he informed me that he had reached safely. The call went like this. We have reached our destination and are heading to the hotel. Just giving you a heads up so that you don't worry about where I am and stuff, since you won't be able to reach me anymore. What is that supposed to mean, Ben? It means that I won't be taking your calls anymore. You can call the hotel if there's an emergency. I already told you where we're staying. So you won't even take my calls on this trip? And I take it that you won't even bother to wish me on our anniversary? Oh God, Jeannie, leave your poor husband alone. We came for a vacation to get away from you, and now you are being attention-seeking over the phone? This is why he won't be taking your calls. Give us some time to bond, Jeannie. Stop being so controlling. You are already spoiling the fun. Listen to me, Jeannie. I'm hanging up now, and I'll only call you when I board the plane back home. Don't call me because I won't pick up. Bye. Yup, my husband was so busy bonding with his best friend that he wasn't even going to take my calls anymore. He even allowed Chloe to slide into our private conversation and tell me off for being controlling and attention-seeking. It was the last blow to my ego, and that's all the incentive I needed to go straight to a lawyer's office. There, on his recommendation, I filed for annulment. I had a strong case, and he assured me that we would come out victorious. In case of an annulment, my jobless husband won't even be able to claim alimony from me. He had already wasted a lot of money taking Chloe on vacation, so I was curious to see how he would be able to fight me in court. Ben was going to pay for the way he betrayed me. I kept quiet and started to get my ducks in a row while he had the time of his life with so-called best friend. My lawyer filed in court for annulment, and we were waiting for Ben to come home after his trip. There was zero communication between Ben and me, just like he had said. I had no intention of talking to him either. I was busy crying and preparing myself alone so that I wouldn't get weak when he came begging for forgiveness. Nope. I wasn't going to let him rein me back into that sham of a marriage. The last nail in the coffin for my marriage and Ben's fate was when Chloe sent me a beautiful picture of her and my husband. The day was the night before our anniversary. They were in bed together, possibly naked, and covered by a blanket. My husband was sleeping, so he probably didn't know Chloe took the picture. She was smiling and added the caption, "Told you he will always be mine, Jeannie." I literally barfed at the picture, but wasn't surprised. I had a feeling that things might happen on this trip. There was no point in me confirming it because I was going to leave Ben anyway. But I must say that the picture was very helpful for my lawyer, who was preparing a strong case for me. Chloe actually did me a favor by sending that picture. Very surprisingly, Ben texted me, "Happy anniversary," and even told me that he was excited to come home to me after the trip. He would be back the day after our anniversary. I think at that point he had started to feel a little guilty or something because he started to love bomb me. I kept ignoring his texts and left them unread. I didn't even reply to his text when he told me that he had boarded the plane. After he landed, he wasted no time and came straight home. I was at work, so I couldn't see his reaction when he went home, but I did get to hear it because Ben called me in a panic and said, "Hey, Jeannie, I'm back home, but can't get inside." "What do you mean, Ben?" "I'm trying to open the doors, but my keys are not working." "Oh, about that. Well, I have changed the locks on my house. The keys you have are useless now." "Okay, so can you come by and hand me the new keys? I'm tired and need to freshen up." "I don't think I'll do that, Ben. You're not allowed in my house anymore, so you need to freshen up somewhere else." Ben was silent in shock when I said that. He had been pretty confused about why his keys weren't working. Well, let me tell you guys, I made good use of the time he was away and had his things thrown out of the house. Now, technically, I couldn't actually throw them out because then he would sue me, but I boxed them up and dropped them off at a storage facility. I also changed the lock so that he wouldn't get back into my house. Ben was agitated and said, "What is this nonsense? Is this a joke, Jeannie?" "Why do you think this is a joke? Am I laughing?" "Stop this, Jeannie. You need to let me into my house." Whoa, 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 Ben. Don't forget, it's my house, not yours. "And I happen to be your husband, Jeannie. You can't throw your husband out of your house." "Oh, about that. Well, guess what, Ben? You won't be my husband anymore." Ben was once again dumbstruck by what I said. He wasn't expecting me to say that I was going to leave him. He should have seen this coming, given the fact that I had thrown his stuff out. Maybe he had thought that I was angry and he would be able to cool me down with his nonsense. But there was no chance for that anymore. I informed him that I was going to leave him. Ben's voice shook, but he was still in disbelief. He said, "What are you talking about, Jeannie?" "Well, after you left, I thought things through. I have done a grave sin by keeping you away from your best friend, so I have decided to remove myself from the picture so that you can marry your best friend, since she is so much more important than me." "Oh God, Jeannie, you have gone insane. This is all because of your insecurities. I took an innocent trip with my best friend and you're making a big deal out of it." "Oh really, Ben? Was the trip truly completely innocent? Are you still going to gaslight me and blame my insecurities? Think again, because I know you cheated on me with Chloe." What are you... Don't play dumb, Ben. Your best friend Chloe has sent me a picture of you and her half naked in bed. So not only did you leave me on our anniversary and to go on a trip with your best friend, but also cheated on me with her. "Listen to me, Jeannie. It was a small mistake. It happened only once. I swear to you, Jeannie. I'm sorry. Please hear me out. And don't make any rash decisions." "Oh, I already made my decision, Ben. I already have your stuff thrown out and have filed for marriage annulment. My lawyer is on his way to serve you right now and give you directions to the storage unit where your stuff is." "Don't do this, Jeannie. Let's talk about this. I will cut off Chloe for you, Jeannie. Please listen to me." "We're done, Ben. Chloe can take your responsibility now. Don't call me again without a lawyer." Ben desperately tried to change my mind, but I wasn't listening to him. I was on the phone with him to make sure my lawyer reached him and served him the papers. As soon as my lawyer was there, I hung up on him. He kept calling and texting me, but I didn't bother giving him a reply. I don't know where he went from the house, but when I returned, he was gone. He didn't move in with Chloe, though. How do I know this? Well, Chloe called me screaming because Ben had yelled at her for sending me the picture. Ben knew that the picture proved an affair and was going to cost him in the annulment. They had a huge fight, and basically Ben was blaming Chloe for making him lose his cash cow, who was me. I listened with glee as Chloe yelled and cried about how Ben was mad at her and not talking to her anymore. Ben had actually cut off contact with Chloe because he somehow thought that he still had a chance with me. He regularly showed up at my house to beg and cry for mercy. After the second day, I simply called the cops and asked them to escort him away. After that, he never showed up but continued texting and calling me. He even confessed his affair, which made my lawyer happier on all accounts. Eventually, he had to get a lawyer and give in to the annulment because of the mountain of leverage we had against him. I mean, he did leave his job without consulting me and had expected me to take care of him, not to mention that he had cheated on me not even a year into our marriage. He had really messed up badly and didn't have many options. In the end, he was forced to choose civil annulment because he didn't have the money to go to court. He wasn't able to get alimony out of me because of the annulment, and I got to keep all my money. However, He was left financially in a bad place because of his poor life choices and lawyer fees. The annulment of my marriage was completed in record time. Ben could not do much to stop it. His lawyer also advised him to sign the papers and not drag the case to court when he had no money. He cried a lot the day he signed the papers. I'm pretty sure those tears were because he finally realized that he had missed his opportunity to become a mooch and have me support his lifestyle. Chloe was someone who worked at a grocery store, so it's not like she had the means to support him. I don't know what their relationship is like now, but rumors from mutual friends say that it isn't good. Ben had been couch surfing for a while and begging me to date him again, even after the annulment. When that didn't work, he was forced to move into a small apartment and look for employment again. His quality of life has gone down significantly, and I hope he has learned his lesson for being such a bad husband. As for me, I am happy to be free from the Ben-Chloe drama, and I am back in the dating game for now.